Hocus Pocus is Mista. What? So you get to see Top versus Mista? That's right, here in Hill and Dale. But Hocus Pocus, what is this normie BS you're putting before me, Mista? What is this Civ choice right here? How dare you? Picking the HRE? On Hill and Dale? Kiwian, Roos. I can get behind that. Let's see how this is going to play out. So, interestingly enough, the HRE was the standard for a long time in Hill and Dale, but a lot of players started to move away from it, mainly because they found a better map. Hill and Dale wasn't the true owned, owned? Words, clearly 11 hours true. Hill and Dale wasn't really truly under the ownership of the HRE. It was the Delhi. The Delhi just trounced them, and then eventually the Chinese started to kind of become a reign supreme type faction here. What people started to realize is actually the true home of the HRE, the true power location, is Mongolian Heights. However, Mongolian Heights is pretty worthless right now in competitive because we got rid of it, and you're going to have to just suck it up and deal with it. Sorry, people that enjoy 2-hour games. You're not getting them that easy. You're going to have to work a lot harder for it. Maybe go to college. I don't know. Maybe go outside and touch some grass. Maybe think about the strategies a little bit. Be a little bit different, which is exactly what I'm hoping we're going to get out of Mista here, a.k.a. Hocus Pocus. As he was able to confirm for us the other week that this is indeed his Smurf. We even got to witness him going up against BC early on. It's been kind of spiraling up and down. In fact, at the time of recording, I believe Hocus Pocus is a little bit lower on the ranks. 39th, still respectable. Kiwian, meanwhile, is 31st. I actually love to see Kiwian bouncing back. Feel like he'd been missing for a while. He was slipping down into plus 100, right? I think he was in the 100, 200 range for a few weeks, which was kind of heartbreaking. Like, this guy was pretty cool to watch early on. You know, this guy's got a lot of history in RTS as a very talented player, and it was bumming me out. But I'm glad to see him back. So I've talked about this before. I want to see more SEA representation, more Asian representation in general. Like, I don't want to just have a situation where this becomes the European clubhouse. I think that's what we were at risk with when you looked at how Golden League was going until we saw the breakout performances of Puppy Paw and Wham. And it was so refreshing. You know, I got a lot of love for our EU boys, right? When you look at the likes of Beastie, TheMista, love these people. Viper as well, of course. And there's plenty of others. We got one of the cuties in the chat. Maybe not at the top 8 level, but Kalpa's always been there, always a popular player. Like, if you count the European players at the highest level play, they outmass the other regions. I don't like that. I want to encourage play because I think that's one of the beautiful things about esports and gaming in general, is it doesn't have to be biased towards borders or regions. And when you get into regional interregional warfare, moving around the world, engaging with these people around the world, that's when you really start to build the stories and build an amazing esports scene. So I'm glad to see that we've still got the likes of Kiwian, Leenock, Sayark, Hut, all these people coming from different regions that are engaging instead of it just being a European clubhouse. Speaking of one of the Europeans, though, in the sunny Southlands, Mista is going to get one hell of a juicy Ark and Chapel. And look at what he's done with the deer. Nice push in there coming out from Mista. So we'll condense all of the deer underneath the TC and Arkin. Small tree line to be fully levied. Gold good, berry good. This is looking like a very good game for... Oh, okay, I'm going to stop. For Mista. On the other side, Kiwian, at least make his way up the Golden Gate. How did he do on the food in the end? Ooh, bounty system 280. Not the best, but not too bad. I think it's much harder to get the high-scoring values on Hill and Dale, simply because straight away, one of the deer spots is just denied away from you. That's why we don't really see Roos here. Like, you can't necessarily get the huge value there. Also, I think the strategies Roos usually utilize, relying heavily on wood, is detrimental on this map because look at your wood lines. It got nerfed. You've got one wood line and then whatever this is. This is like when someone says, oh, you know, can we have a slice of cake? And you're the fat guy, so this is your slice of cake. Like, you take a giant chunk, and this is what you leave for everyone else. That's what it feels like. It's very weird. But I understand why they've done it. It's just by doing it, they really kicked the Roos out of viable civs here. The reason is that you rely on wood. Like, wood is the thing you want to levy longest. That's the thing you want to get the most value out of because you get 20% more. So not being able to stay on your high ground for as long or not having as much wood available can be a problem, especially when you consider how bad the generations are for Hill and Dale. Another reason I'm happy we're getting rid of this map, at least from competitive pool, is it's so badly designed in terms of spawns. Look at this spawn. So I like this. I actually would, if this was the regular, I'd be very happy. I actually like the idea of like a central wood line. Maybe have it spread around so there's a sacred site in the center. That'd be cool. What I don't like is this. Why is this wood line here? And then this is the comparable. Wait, let me just really refresh that in your brain though. Freestyle forests. 1, 2, 3. Huh. Well, what about the south side pigeon? 1, 2. Oh, so he's got more stealth forests. 1. One very large one. 2. It's almost like the game registered that he picked Roos and went, yep, gonna have to give him those lines. So anyway, it's fair. The problem is you can't guarantee this. The amount of times I've watched civs that rely on wood get screwed. We had a game the other week where an English player had all the gold on his side of the map, but none of the wood. Literally none of the wood lines in the center were inside. And the other player was a French player with all the wood and none of the gold. Difference in that situation is that the gold on the high ground, because you always are guaranteed free, is going to last you a lot longer than 1 and a baby bit of wood. It frustrates me. And speaking of frustrating, Kiwi looking to be exactly that with the Wooden Fortress crawling. While I'm going on my rant about how BS this map can be, Kiwi is looking to stick it to the HRE. Mista has to fall back to the berries, is trying to rush up, has enough gold, needs to get the food together for castle up, and could break out off the back of a Burgrave. Burgrave might be the call here, considering you're up against the Wooden Fortresses. And remember that Kiwi, with this investment now, that's 3 Wooden Fortresses in a row. That means he's invested 525 wood in this. He's not reaching up to Castle Age anytime soon. One thing I want to highlight, by the way, is this doesn't look as invaluable as people have been clocking it. And I love that Roost players have started to identify this. Yes, you do pay 175 wood compared to 100. Cool thing to think about, though, is you get 20% more wood anyway. So you can afford that more than anything else economically. And on top of that, it's tanky enough that opponents can't easily dive it. That's the cool thing to consider here, is like, how many times do you see someone station all these outposts and start upgrading them to fortifications? If they're to go for fortify, that's an extra 100 stone anyway. So if you think about it logically, like, you've got a kind of better deal here. You don't have the extra torch resistance, sure, but you've got the extra 1,000 HP and you paid 25 resources less than someone would for fortifications. Speaking of fortifications, Mista will at least protect himself against the wraparound with the Palisade wall there, and he will make his way up now with the Regnitz Cathedral here. Scouts moving out to spot if they're free to move in, as it looks like Kiwin is moving out into the midfield and onto the ball. This will allow him to fuel the war machine, and we'll have to see if he has any intent to go to castle anytime soon. He has applied a lot of pressure here, but this pressure, unless it continues to be cultivated into more aggression off the back of a proxy base or additional wooden fortresses, naturally it's eventually going to be cleared. Because with this reach up, this is where Mista could just go back for siege engineering. He could just try and breach out these. He could even start massing man-at-arms to just flood out and torch them down. Prelate. We could go for a wall if need be, but it's only scouts who'll pick it up and go on by. Meanwhile, no. He wouldn't, right? I mean, he couldn't, because Kiwin should see this and back away. But it's really fun to think about. I'm a dreamer, what can I say? Mista is going to pick up the relic. He doesn't know, so he can't even try for it. He's just going to back away. Pepperin continues in his base. This is really frustrating, by the way. It's very easy for us from this kind of perspective to not care about all this ping because we have God vision and we're not, like, you know, we know where we're going to look. But look on the map right now. Look at all these little pings coming out for Mista. This is so distracting when you're trying to find something that actually matters. If your map is just flaring off all the time and you're getting the dun, 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 dun under attack noises, it can be very easy to miss an important detail when you are actually under attack in a way that does something to you, like your village is being raided. So that's the other thing I think that's so annoying about outpost spam is, like, there's many things to hate about it. It is very easy to manipulate your opponent early on. But side elements that maybe don't get as much consideration outside, this is just stupidly cheap, it blocks out my resources, yada, 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 is that it blocks out your situational awareness. It's very hard to keep track of things that actually matter when your minimap is acting like everything matters. Prelate? Wait, Mista? Wait, where is he? Sir? Sir? All right, protection of TC will provide. He'll move across now. Could have actually just backed that in, but I guess by baiting him into TC fight, gets rid of the vision. Nice Kiwi and some control in that regard. Sacred Site is going to reveal another relic being picked up and brought in. That's going to be free. By the way, the reason why Mista's playing to this urgently is he is up against the Roos. If you give enough time and they reach up in the castle, they want relics as well. And speaking of reaching up in the castle, that's exactly what Kiwian is doing now, but he won't find insane value. Only 2 relics available in the field. Looks like he's also going towards the typical Horse Archer build. Wonder if Mista is suspecting this. This is quite a safe bet when you're up against the HRE. So the most logical play, Mista's already on it. Siege Workshop. If you get 2 Mangonels, you can make Kiwian's life hell here. You should be able to get that pretty freely. Plenty of wood on the high ground still. Plenty of gold now trickling in. 600 gold per minute, in fact. Soon to be 700 with the 3rd relic coming in. What's the only choice that Kiwian has? More wooden fortresses? Not today. Not allowed. Get the hell out of here. So the value of this Siege Workshop is twofold, and I think this is where Kiwian kind of made a whoopsie-daisy in going towards the Horse Archers. First of all, you need a Siege Workshop to get Trebs out. You need to get rid of these defenses. But once you get rid of these defenses, you then are going to have a means to build Mangonels. And the Horse Archers are in trouble at that stage because, as it stands, it's difficult to see a way in which you're going to be able to leverage value early on when you're forced into choke points. It's not like you have a flood through on multiple sides that you can just wrap in and do a lot of damage. Mangos can hold you in these locations, and they can punish you as well. But that being said, Mista might want to get some troops out to help with that. Is he going for a defensive keep? It looks like he might be. He hasn't snuck out to wall this off, so defensive keep at the front won't stop everything. At least slow things down there as Horse Archers start to emerge for Kiwian. First trap now comes out. We'll start to deal with the wooden fortresses quickly. Keep in mind, Kiwian, he can see some of these villages, so this needs to be fast. Whoopsie. Spearwood reaching in. Mista still has the villager lead, but if he doesn't notice they're being sniped like this, he won't have it for long. Also, Treb missed the first shot. How do you... What? Wait. But you see it now. What? All right, that's some Stormtrooper aim right there. He just attack rounded twice. He couldn't see it at first when he opened fire, which is why he was attacking the ground. Instead, he'll take out the ones to the right side, because right now, one big issue for Mista is he's running out of food fast. And the reason he needs to deal with this one now is because he's trying to get into the farms. He couldn't get the wood, so now he needs the deer again, and he'll be able to access it freely. Wood of Fortress on the right side. They've denied the wood for a while, but like ultimately, I'm starting to question whether Kiwian got the true value he was looking for. I don't blame him for this play, per se. It done something, but you always have to question whether it's good enough. When you're up against the HRE, you can't just sit back and boom up. You do have to address them directly. To his credit, Kiwian done that. He invested quite heavily to do that, but he done it. But by doing it the way he did slow down his own tech up timings, and it meant that he wasn't able to like truly extract value where it mattered. He wasn't able to beat his opponent to the relic punchline, which is why right now, Mista has the majority. Now, with this keep to stabilize him, this is where he'll probably start thinking about reaching for Imperial, something that Kiwian can only dream of at this stage because he hasn't even begun the farm transition yet. Look at his base. Still deer, still boars. He's delaying it as long as possible, as most Roost players do. Now keep going up. So Kiwian will need to go back to the drawing board here. It's going to be very hard to dive a keep with Horse Archers. This could be where he sets up some trebs and move out fast, or he could try to rush up tech-wise. But if he chooses to rush up, you are just going to be behind. The other cool thing he could do, I love this idea, is Kiwian can play in the midfield with Sacred Sites, capture them, and force Mista to come out. All the while building static defenses in this area and stacking up Horse Archers. Horse Archers are actually decent in the midfield because they don't have to worry about diving static defenses. Instead, they can use their movement speed advantage to just respond fluidly to any assault by Mista. And it looks like that is exactly what he's going for. Now, all he needs to worry about is patrol in the midfield. Like, at the end of the day, this keep is now a heavy investment for a person who's just sitting in the base. And that is the goal for Mista, right? That's another reason why we do see the HRE picked a lot on this map, is you get to sit on your high ground and just play for a later timing. Play for your Imperial. Because the big advantage of the HRE is their economy is so much better than everyone else's that they're able to reach their final tech stage faster than any other civ in the game. Kiwian, I would love to see a secondary TC coming out, actually. Secondary TC into continued push of Horse Archers would be a really cool play here. And I don't think it's easily discounted either by what Mista's going to do. You know, Langsnet can't gap close on Horse Archers. They get peppered down before they can arrive. Mangonels, it's difficult for him to actually get enough of them with limited on the high ground, not to mention to gap close upon Horse Archers again. And if there's enough static defenses, then the Mangonels aren't going to cut it on their own. They're going to be exposed and slowed down. Let's see which way he wants to go. Outpost now reaching out because, of course, Mista does have to come out of his base soon. Powers of Swabi almost complete. This is where we'll really start to bolster up. And we can see at this stage, they're already neck and neck, but won't be for long. If Kiwian doesn't get enough static defenses up, it might be his neck on the chopping block. Stabilizing himself, but one worrisome detail right now is because Kiwian hasn't set up a second TC to like boost his wood further. He's got a very difficult point ahead of him at this rate. The food is drying up fast, and once the food is gone, you have tough choices. You either go on the berries, or you go into farms. And berries will buy you another 2 or 3 minutes, but as your eco continues to expand and bloat, you get through all these finite resources faster. Seed workshop at least almost complete for Kiwian. I'm not sure I like it if he's planning to go in with Trebs. I hope this is Springles, because I think Springles is actually a really cool clutch play. If he goes in towards Trebs, I think you're baiting yourself into Mista's plan. Because right now, Mista doesn't like care if you start slow sieging his base. He has emergency repairs. If you go into Springles, he can't reach out with Mangonels. So your Horse Archers are never in trouble. It's going to be the Trebs. All right, on your head be it. Kiwian thinking he can breach the base. Confidence or arrogance? We're going to find out. The reason I don't like this play is you've given yourself a win condition. So you want to do everything you can do to set yourself up to defend that win condition. By not getting Springles, you allow your opponent to get Mangonels. And if he goes Mangonels, your Horse Archers get wiped. Also going hand cannoneers, so once again, you know, maybe not even Springles, Mangonels seem more desirable. This is the thing, like, either way now, when you reveal your hands, Trebuchets are the thing that Mista smiles at, the thing he's happy to see. If he saw either Mangonels or Springles, it limits his options. Now he's free to do what he wants. What he wants is a Culverin just to make sure you can't switch afterwards. Culverin that will also snipe down these units, by the way. Culverin does enough to kill off a Horse Archer. Outpost creep. It's going to be a foul. First Treb in the field. Sacred Site has to be like, what, 7 minutes remaining, maybe? Springles finally coming out, but folks, the Culverin's already on its way, and the Culverin beats Springles. I think he needed these faster. He needed mass. He doesn't have mass right now, because he was too slow into building into them. First Culverin out. Remember, 12 tile range. Enough damage to insta-hit down the Springles as well. And wait, did he... Oh, wow, he didn't respect it. He didn't respect the relic. He forgot. I think he actually forgot. Remember that when you bang the relic, it boosts the defense, increases the weapon range, the damage. He's able to one-hit the Springles. Sorry, 2-hit the Springles in that situation, wouldn't it be? Yeah. 2 hits the Springles, but with the 12 tile range, you're already far in range when you realize it. As a crafty play out of Mista. Culverin, meanwhile, just trying to probe. Treb is gone. And this is the difference. Like, if you had enough Springles already, it feels good. The Treb maybe feels necessary now to deal with the outposts. I think this is like the play you weren't expecting, though. Mista just played this really well. You could argue Trebs now make sense, but he didn't have this info going in. So now Kiwian's in a reactionary state where he has to once again go for Trebs, now only identifying the threat, and now, as a result, has to invest another 750 resources. Whereas if he'd gone for the Springles before, he maybe would have gauged what the defenses were, saved a little bit of resource, and then still had the means to take out the outpost while defending the Treb. Upside for Kiwin. He still defends the midfield, but not for long. Oh, Mista. Okay. When was the last time you saw someone do this to decap a Sacred Site? When was the last time you saw an HRE player do this to decap the Sacred Site? Wait, what? Mista? He'll realize now. That decap, he can't reach. If he stands on this edge, Horse Archers shouldn't be able to reach him. Oof. And even if he does get in position, it might be too late anyway. Mista with 3 villagers. Yep, he'll shift to the north side. One will go down, but good luck reaching the rest. Kiwian, he can barely reach that one. Mista with the perfect placement will get the decap. Win condition has changed. Kiwian, that was his best shot. Now he has to go back to the drawing board, and afterwards, he's heavily invested now. Think about the amount of siege he's built. 300 wood for each of these siege workshops. He's built 2 trebuchets. That's 1,500 resources. How many springles are we up to? 6 total, 2 already lost. 500 each. Add all those numbers together, and that is an Imperial Age. That's a problem, because now reaching Imperial could kill you. You know, before you could go Imperial and you're just looking at an HRE player isn't fully boomed. Now he's fully unleashed. Look at the count. 32 military, but quality units, culverins and hand cannoneers. Behind that, an economy that is now 40+ units ahead of Kiwins. Kiwin. He just has to go all in. He has to pop cap and go. The problem I see now is with these gathering rates, you're not going to pop cap before your opponent. Remember, he's on berries right now, and those berries are drying up fast. You can see the food is actually looking pathetic right now. Those income rates, they're not going to sustain long-term. Crossbows now coming out as well. Sacred Sites, additional ones being decapped. Its control continues to be stripped away from Kiwian. Defense is alongside it. Culverins, nice snipe outs. Back away just in time. Remember, 12 tile range versus 10. Scout's going to be a freebie. He repairs, making sure you can't do anything. There's the blueprint play. Remember, you don't even have to build these. You just have to, like, place them. Don't even tap them with a hammer. I remember discussing this point before, like, you could have a keep in your opponent's base, and if you quickly blueprint all the way, it doesn't matter that you don't build them in. They'll still get the effect. It's pretty ludicrous. So just keep that in mind, folks. And that's not against the rules. You know, you can say it's exploiting a bug, but it's not banned on any sort of competitive stance. We've even seen it used in the Road to Wololo. Although I don't even know if the HRE need that buff anymore. And look at this move now. Kiwi in for a penny, in for a pound. Relic pulled into the keep, and that's going to be a massacre now. Banks it just in time, and you need to get out. This dive, Kiwi feels he needs to commit. Hand cannon is going to hold long enough. Villagers being sacrificed, but it just does not matter. And the keep, emergency repairs is going to be there. Army is likely to be wiped for Kiwi. It's just not a good trade. Military count right now with static defenses mainly. Mista is still taking the lead as Kiwi continues the charge. Emergency repairs. Okay, there we go. Thank God, I was getting worried. The second keep even gets to join in. So Kiwi now going to send his army down to basically 0 if he doesn't back out. But if he does back out, Mista gets an opportunity to full rebuild. And he knows it. Diving on the right side, but limited troops making in. Only 3 horse archers and 14 crossbows. And instead of committing, he backs away. The only opportunity he had to get value, and he walks away from it after sacrificing 3/4 of his army. Kiwi now miles behind Mista. His economy is in shambles at this stage. I think this was the moment where you maybe were better served just teching up. Because now you're going to have to replace the army. And replacing that army, difference here is now this time around, Mista can reach mass. He's running out of wood, sure, but he's got plenty of food and gold to work with. What does Kiwi have to do? He has to double down. Up to 4 trebuchets now. And even that isn't going to be a quick breach. Emergency repairs ensure that. The concern as well, by the way, is even if he kills this keep, look at the resources. Mista can build another one next to it. And Mista is now sneaking out for that wood. Wait, no, he's going for the gold. He's going for a keep drop right now. So he's going to consolidate his gold income long term. And sure, wood is suffering, but realistically, you can offset that with trade. Also, think about the composition that Mista's building. Hand cannoneers and man-at-arms. Any guess what resource those don't cost? Wood. The limited wood that is needed can just go into the anti-siege to just move in like this and get free trade-outs. Culverin? Mista? That's a mistake. Wow, he doesn't even trade one out in the end. Whoopsie. Horseman now arriving once again. Although this unit costs wood, not the majority cost, only 20 wood each. And it makes sense when you're up against this many crossbows. Now, you can see the Kiwian's going to fight tooth and nail for this because he doesn't want to give him access to the wood on the front line, but he might find a wraparound opportunity at this rate. There's also still stealth forests, straggler trees to work with, so although Mista is going to not get the most efficient wood gathering, he's not out. Instead, now he's going to march in to the belly of the beast. Hand cannoneers, a little bit out of position there, maybe a misclick, but Mista, he baits him away. Horseman riding in. Nice idea, doesn't work out though. Meanwhile, keep still stable. Trebuchet fire coming in again, but every time he repairs, keeps him alive. Hand cannoneers, now to defend. This is the crazy part, like think of any other civ in this situation. The wood would be a problem because you need it to repair. And although Mista is using some to repair, how much wood has he saved via emergency repairs? This is one of the true powerful elements of the HRE that is subtle, but so damn effective. And the repairs, you can see he's just going to have enough wood to delay it long enough for E-repairs to come off cooldown. Because the Treb attack speed isn't quick enough. Also, beautiful work of the relic here. That's why it's lasting so long. Extra armor, an extra 25. Putting a dent in the damage coming out from these units. And it really is the difference between being on fire and not right now. He didn't hear the repairs! It's okay, guys. Just put another one. And now he's going to start marching in. Backstab attack coming in. Lagsneck now in the field as well. Stacks on top of the crossbows, and that's way too many horsemen to deal with. And the distraction is beautiful. The keep is going up. The trebuchets haven't even noticed it yet. Kiwian switching targets. Villagers now in as well. Can he do it? The Treb should be enough damage. Good job there. Gets rid of the aggressive keep coming out from Hocus Pocus, but Mista can commit to another one in the meantime. The front line is folding. Barely any crossbowmen remaining. Trebuchet's now in trouble. Springles as well. Another keep going up. The unpack, as he tries to recommit, Mista doesn't cancel the keep. That's another 800 stone down. But the villagers are committed to this. Mangonel's exposed. Hand cannoneers wrapping around. Siege line is gone. And despite the terrible trades of keeps coming out, it doesn't matter. There is too much crap being thrown at him. The army is never ending, and Kiwian with a defensive keep is ambitious at best. He will wave that flag because just a few Langsneck will bring a quick end to his game. The wave of their sword.